Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome in to a victorious edition of Duval Daily. Your Jaguars win 27-24. Yeah, that's right, in overtime over the Arizona Cardinals in the desert. A game in which it was insane. It was an insane football game. So much hijinks, craziness, idiocracy. It was wild to watch. And it's been a wild day of football. But your Jaguars win in overtime 27-24 over the Arizona Cardinals. They get to 7-4 on the year. Much needed victory in a lot of ways. Sitting here watching football today has just been insane. Obviously, the Chiefs were able to take down the Colts in overtime at the last minute. So the two games that Jags fans are probably watching today, 1 o'clock slate, Chiefs versus Colts, Jags need the Chiefs to win in a lot of ways because the Jags hold the tiebreaker against the Chiefs in the wild card, so you feel good about that if you finish with the same record. But also, you're trying to chase down the Colts in the AFC South. And so the Colts were 8-2 entering the day. They're now 8-3. The Jaguars get to 7-4. They're one game behind the Colts, and they have 2 games ahead of them on the schedule against the Colts. Also have 2 games against the Titans. 4 games left in the AFC South for the Jaguars. They played the Texans twice, right? Split between those. Obviously, we don't need to go down that road. That road of just the most embarrassing loss in Jaguars history. But the bottom line is the Jaguars are 1-1 in their division. They have 2 games against the Titans, a bottom feeder in the NFL right now, and 2 games against the team at the top of the AFC South. And they're only at the top by 1 game now. 8-3, Colts, Jags 7-4. Talking about the Jaguars game specifically, where to begin? I really don't know. Didn't put together notes for this one because this was just like so crazy. It's just going to be off the rip. But really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the coverage, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com, pick up some new Duval gear, help support the channel, look good while doing it. Over here at the in-laws, obviously not in my home studio here. In-laws are from Kansas City, huge Chiefs fans. So it was nice to be able to watch the game today with them and really be on that side, right? Through and through. But Jags, Cardinals, where to begin? I would say you begin with the Jaguars defense. Early on in this game, they had some missed opportunities on defense. Penalties, some questionable penalties, disappointing penalties. The roughing the passer on Devin Lloyd. I don't blame him one bit for that. These defenders are in a place where it's like you either tackle the quarterback or you look like an idiot for not tackling the quarterback. And there's really no in between. If you are a physical, athletic, explosive player that has any sort of weight on them, it is very difficult to get a clean hit on the quarterback. You can't go low, you can't go high, you can't drive. It's difficult to tackle a quarterback in the pocket if you're one of those types of players, and Devin Lloyd is a big guy. He's not like a defense, he's not Grover Stewart falling on Patrick Mahomes, but he's a big guy, and he's explosive as all get out. He's strong. I don't know what you're supposed to do in that spot. I really don't. Obviously, Jarian had a clean hit later on, but Jarian's a smaller guy, not going to make the same type of impact hitting the quarterback. And did Devin drive through the ground? I don't think he did. I don't know, but we don't need to harp on that all day. It is what it is. I think it's impossible for defenders in that situation, big linebackers, edge players, defensive tackles, to really do the job correctly. So that sucks. But Jags defense early on in this game, first half basically, they gave up more points than they would have liked. You had the penalties. You had the Greg Newsome penalty, which was legit. And there was a little bit too much, really not a lot, but on the one touchdown drive that the Cardinals had in the first half, you saw the penalties, you saw a couple of gash runs, which you didn't want to see. Overall, Jags defense played very well. One of the touchdowns the Cardinals scored was A Trevor Lawrence turnover. Yeah, a Trevor Lawrence turnover. And we can get to that, and we will get to that. Trust me. But I think that the defense needs to be highlighted. You're without Travis Hunter. You're without Greg Newsome at times throughout this game. Down the stretch, Christian Braswell's having to cover Cardinals' best receiver at times. The Jaguars are not like a defense where you're traveling with the opposing receiver a lot, opposing number one. And look, it's not like Michael Wilson is like some crazy number one receiver, right? But uh, he makes a mistake, big time, gets beat down the field on a double move, bites on it late in the game, sets up the Cardinals game-winning tie. But other than that, I mean, I thought Christian Braswell did a good job. I thought Buster Brown did a good job. I ultimately think, like, look, the Jags' run defense for the most part this year has been stellar. And for the most part today, it was stellar. And then you look at the pass rush. I thought the pass rush was pretty great today. Cardinals don't have a great offensive line. They don't have a terrible offensive line, but it's not great by any stretch. Still, they were getting to Jacoby Brissett. They were forcing Jacoby Brissett off his spot. They were forcing him to throw kind of odd arm angles, different places in the pocket. He didn't really feel comfortable. And they got a lot of sacks as well. They hit that man. They hit him a lot. The pass rush was getting it done. And I've felt this way for a long time. As long as you are not playing off coverage, where every single corner is off, 8 yards, 7, 8 yards, 9 yards off the line of scrimmage, you have a chance with the Jaguars pass rush to make an impact. Shout out to Josh Hines-Allen. Great game. Big play in overtime to get a sack. On a 3-man rush, got a sack. That was big. He was killing it. Just constantly creating pressure. Getting Jacoby Brissett off his spot. Danny Strigo, before he got injured, was doing a really good job. It was so cool to see him affecting the game the way he was. He had an interior rush where he absolutely, forced Jacoby Brissett off his spot and did a great job. And you saw also all sorts of guys making plays, including some, off-ball players. Dennis Gardeck getting the first sack of the game on the first drive of the game. Returned to Arizona. That was cool for him. Not a perfect game by him by any stretch, but guys stepping up and really generating some pass rush. So I thought the Jaguars defense against a Cardinals team that even without Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously Kyler Murray's been not gone, but on injured reserve and demoted basically. Jacoby Brissett has been throwing the heck out of the ball. Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, obviously Trey McBride. And Trey McBride got his. He ultimately did end up beating the Jaguars, but he tried his damnedest. And there were stretches of the game where it didn't seem like he was heavily involved, which I think was good for the Jaguars, right? Because, if he had one of those games where it was like 15 catches for 200, very well could have lost. But he did have a big impact. He absolutely did. And I don't know the final stats on him, but big impact in the game as expected. Ultimately, though, the other guys couldn't make enough plays for the Cardinals. Even though Trevor Lawrence and the Jags offense gave them ample opportunity. Trevor Lawrence, you've seen this a lot, right? Like, people are calling it Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think it's fair. I really think it's fair because there's just too much volatility right now. And does he go down and have a great drive to help win you the game, to help take the lead in the fourth quarter? Yeah, he did. He also had 2 ill-advised turnovers in the second half. The 2 first half turnovers, you can debate all day whether or not that's Trevor's fault. I think the first one, obviously, you can't have a free runner at the quarterback like that, but at the same time, could he have gotten the ball out a little bit quicker? I think so. And then the second one, where he was targeting Jacoby Myers in the end zone, it was tipped by Calais Campbell at the line, which I don't think you take that away from Trevor. Like, you still threw a ball that got tipped, but it's bad luck for sure. It's bad luck. Um, so those two I could live with. I really could. The two in the second half, I can't have them. Can't have them in that type of game. If you're playing a better team, well, and another thing about this is those were great plays. The Buda Baker play was great. The Akeem Davis Gaither play was great. Those were two really good coverage plays. Still, can't have them. And if you're playing against a team that's more complete, you're probably losing that football. The Jags did not play good enough overall, specifically Trevor Lawrence. Did he have shining moments? Yes. Did a lot of the guys on offense have shining moments? Yes. I mean, so much credit to the run game, which probably could have been leaned on a little bit more. And if you want to talk about being critical beyond just Trevor Lawrence, which again, I think that second half, even though he did have the the rebound, the redemption, that was bad. That was really bad. But he did have the redemption. And even though he had the interception throwing to Jacoby in the end zone, he then again had the redemption from that, getting Jacoby a touchdown. So it's just like, geez Louise, what are we doing here? Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde for sure. Not good enough overall for sure. Plays you need back for sure. You cannot have four turnovers in a game as a quarterback. You can't. You can't do it. Two that are blatantly your fault, even though they're great plays by the defense, still your fault. Two that are like, pretty unlucky, but they are what they are. And one of them directly led to a defensive touchdown. So, yeah, not good enough for Trevor today, but, a lot of things Parker did were great. And then you saw, everybody's sitting here thinking it's a safety for a second, but the Cardinals, coverage guy touched it, and so the ball was dead there. But golly, I don't know what Parker was thinking there. I don't know what I was thinking there. That was insane. That was insane to see, running back into the end zone and all that. And then you see Tim Patrick having some brutal mistakes. There were some drops in this game. I thought in the first half the pass protection was horrible. Thought it did get cleaned up a lot. There were some things I liked, though, to see still. Like, there was some execution that was really good, some play calls. The first drive for the Jags offense was so cool to see. 45-yard Travis Etienne run, and followed up by the 15-yard touchdown catch and run by Travis Etienne. That was great to see. I mean, love seeing the Jaguars runners do a good job, but the pass protection in the first half was horrible. It did get cleaned up overall, I thought, and allowed Trevor and the passing offense to get going. But Trevor short-circuited a couple times really bad in some bad spots in the second half. And so he's got to work on that. He's got to get that cleaned up. This doesn't need to be a moment, in my opinion, for bench Trevor. Trevor's not the guy. Or Trevor's still the friend. We don't need to get into that debate right now. The bottom line is Jaguars 7-4. They have the Titans next week. The Colts after that in Jacksonville. They take care of business against the Titans. Arguably, maybe not arguably, the worst team in the NFL. And they will have an opportunity to take down the Colts and take first place in the division. How about that? We're going to review this game a lot more. But I do really appreciate you being here, tuning in, supporting the channel. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.